What's up, YouTube? We're gonna do a discussion today. I know. So you've already guessed by the title of this video that just talking about, am I honest? So I call my yo-yo reviews honest yo-yo reviews, and I've got questions about that, as well as I've talked to people about other yo-yo reviewers, not that I bring it up, but about whether or not there is honesty with other yo-yo reviewers and people who review yo-yos. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today. So most recently the question was posed to me, and I guess I've never really had to answer it before because, quite frankly, most of the yo-yos that I review are the yo-yos I bought. So, you know, only recently have I really been getting any sort of a discount or any, you know, been given any yo-yos or anything like that. You know, surprisingly enough, it was actually on a yo-yo that I bought. I did buy the en passant. I like Two Sick Yo-Yos a lot. I think Joey nails it every time. So, I'll tell you. But basically, I ask him, like, "Hey, I see you have a new yo-yo coming out. Can I review it before it drops?" And then he kind of gives me the option to buy it if I want it, or I can just send it back to him. And that's really all it comes down to. And I haven't sent one back yet. I've talked about this before, because I really like them. So I wouldn't have bought this if I didn't like it. And I think I did mention that in the review, but why? So let's talk about just yo-yo reviews in general and whether or not you feel like they're honest or not. A lot of guys have had and a lot of people have said to me and come to me with concerns about, well, if you're given a yo-yo, but you don't like it, you sort of have incentive to review it well and talk about how much you like it, because if you tell them that you like the first yo-yo you got, you probably are going to be able to get more yo-yos for free or at a discount or whatever. And I guess there's some truth to that. There certainly is. You know, I know there are reviewers who are either sponsored players and basically only review their content, or who only review their sponsors' yo-yos sometimes, or, you know, stuff like that. And the question is whether or not, you know, their reviews can be trusted or not. In all honesty, you know, I think it varies based on the person. I think if they're an ambassador for a brand, I wouldn't necessarily look to them as a review, but if you want to find out more information about that yo-yo, I think they're good at that. Personally, I sort of believe that pictures don't do yo-yo shapes justice. That you sort of have to see it moving around in a video or somebody doing this to it before you can actually really get an idea of what the shape is. And a lot of what I try to do is sort of match yo-yos up to other yo-yos that you may be familiar with, particularly shape-wise, just to give you a good idea, because I'll tell you what, I get a lot of yo-yos, and very often I get a yo-yo when I get it, especially considering what I saw the picture of it before I got it. I'm always like, oh, that doesn't look like I thought it would, and that happens to be pretty often. So when I do a review, my primary goal of the review, yes, I'm going to tell you if I like it or not, and you can choose to agree with me or not. That's my opinion. I either like the yo-yo or I don't like the yo-yo. I'll be honest with you either way, if that's concerned. And I'll try to be that way with everything that I review. I'll tell you if I like it or if I don't like it, but quite frankly, your opinion might be different than mine, so take that with a grain of salt, because something I might love, you might hate. I like IPAs. I know tons of people who hate them. It is what it is. It's a preference thing. But what I'm going to also try to do, that I feel like a lot of reviewers sometimes tend to gloss over, although there's plenty of guys that do this very well, is I try to compare it to other things, compare the yo-yo to other things, and sort of give you an idea how it plays, and try to give you all of the sort of opinionated things. Is the yo-yo smooth? You know, mine has fingernail vibe. Mine's 9 out of 10. Mine's 7 out of 10. Mine's 5 out of 10. Mine's 10 out of 10. A lot of the yo-yos I've been playing with lately have been very smooth, so a lot of times I'll just be like 10 out of 10. Look, see, and I'll show you. I try to show you if I feel like a yo-yo is good for finger spins or not. I mean, usually you could tell if it's got like sort of a flat hub or something, you're going to be able to finger spin on it, or if it's actually got a good indent, you know, whether or not you'll be able to finger spin on it. But to see me do it and to say, yes, you can do it, here's how, I feel like helps. Same thing with, like, you know, I always talk about a thumb grind lip, but if it doesn't have one, I'm gonna tell you. Same thing about a grind finish. I will do grinds, and if it grinds okay, you'll see it either skip on my arm or grind well or grind a long time. You know, sometimes they grind well, sometimes they don't, sometimes they just grind okay. And I'll comment on that because you'll see it happen. Now that can kind of be subjective as well, because some days, particularly right now, it's 90 degrees outside, so I can't grind as well as I could if it was like not super muggy. And somebody asked me if muggy meant humid. Yes, muggy means humid. If it wasn't super humid and like sticky, you know, you could grind most yo-yos a lot better, but some yo-yos, when it gets muggy and sticky out, just makes it a little harder. But I try to be as objective as humanly possible. So, do I inject my opinion into, at some point, probably usually in the beginning and in the end. But I also try to show you guys, you know, what I think the yo-yo has going on for it, and what's unique about it, what's the same about it, whether or not it's a good price. I mean, there's plenty of yo-yos that come up, I'm like, this yo-yo's fine, but it costs too much money. You know, if it's a good yo-yo, but like, you know, the one that comes to mind that was the Kodiak. Not that I have a problem with it, because I think it's a really good yo-yo. But I think it's like 140 or 150 bucks, and you know, I think that was maybe, you know, a lot of its competitors. It's probably as good as a lot of its competitors in the $100 price range. So for all that extra cash, you know, it's a great yo-yo, and you're not going to get a bad yo-yo if you buy it. But for all that extra cash, you know, is it necessarily better than something that you paid $100 for? So that's sort of, you know, I'll kind of try to give you that comparison as well, as far as like value to the dollar is concerned, especially for yo-yos that hit the over $100 mark. You know, I have a ton of yo-yos through all the price ranges, and if I feel like something's overpriced, that I'm going to be honest about that as well. So that's sort of what I try to inject into my reviews. But let's say hypothetically, and I've been given a few yo-yos before, so let's say hypothetically I am given a yo-yo. What am I going to be biased about that yo-yo? Is that gonna sway me to give the yo-yo a better review? I mean, it's possible. I can honestly tell you it hasn't happened yet. The couple of yo-yos that I've been given or given a discount are yo-yos that I've absolutely loved and have been absolutely perfect. I don't know if that's just coincidence up until this point, and maybe you don't believe me, and that's fine. And I will just try to be honest with you guys and say this was given to me, or I got a discount on this or something. So if you don't want to believe me, that's fine. I'm gonna try to be as honest with you as I possibly can. But I will also tell you if, you know, I got some sort of incentive for reviewing the yo-yo, because if I did, I want you to know that. You know, and maybe not necessarily incentive to review the yo-yo, that's maybe not the right term, but like if I got a discount or I got it for free or something, I should tell you guys that. Or if it was a gift, I should tell you that, because maybe that will make you check out somebody else's opinion on it as well. If somebody else has an opinion, maybe get some crowdsourced opinions on it if you don't trust me. I think you should trust me. I trust me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not smart enough to make up lies. I'm really not. I'm bad at lying. You would be able to tell. You really would be able to tell if I lied to you. But I understand if for some reason you don't trust me because I got a yo-yo cheap or free or whatever. So, you know, it is what it is. I'm doing my absolute best to be as subjective as far as the qualities of a yo-yo are concerned, so that whether or not I like the yo-yo doesn't necessarily always come into play. There's a lot of yo-yos that I'll give you good, like, we'll take the Parlay, for example. Parlay's got a lot of good things going on for it. Not my style exactly, but it's got a lot of cool things going on for it, and it's a good yo-yo. Just not necessarily my style. So that was sort of part of my review. I liked it. I had fun with it. but I was glad to just have borrowed it to review it because it wasn't a yo-yo that I had intended to purchase. I think that's the only one-drop this year that's come out that I didn't buy. But you know, that's just one example of, like, you know, I usually really love one. I love that too. It's a really good yo-yo, but I usually really like one-drop stuff, and you know, it always gets kind of a good review for me because it sort of shares the same quality elements that I like in yo-yos. It's very smooth, it's machined very well, and it's just it always looks good. There's never any like flaws on it or anything. So objectively, it's a good yo-yo. Anything that comes out, and most yo-yos that come out are going to objectively be good yo-yos. What I tend to do and what I try to do is to share with you the qualities of that yo-yo that would help you decide whether or not it's something that you would like and something you might like to purchase. So that's really what I'm going for. Whether or not I actually like a yo-yo sort of is irrelevant to the review. What I try to do is give you the objective, like, specs and comparisons of the yo-yo, which is why I generally still read the specs off. I know a lot of people complained about that for a while, but I generally do it just to give you a relevant idea of where I'm coming from specs-wise. So, you know, think of it like a baseball player and, you know, you getting his batting average or whatever. Look, why would you announce his batting average? Because it gives you a relevant, you know, it gives you something relevant to stand on when you're comparing a yo-yo to something else. So that's why I try to do that. And I try to be as objective as possible to give you guys the best information about the yo-yo so that you can make a better informed decision about it. But that's pretty much long enough for my rant. Tell me what you think. If you don't think I'm trustworthy, you can tell me down in the comments. But give me a good reason. Don't just tell me, I don't believe you. Why? Give me a good reason. I'll try to work on it. But, you know, I think you should trust me. I try to be pretty trustworthy, and you know, if I lied to you guys, why would I, like, that would be bad for me. What if I told you a bad yo-yo was good, and then you bought it, and then you hated it because it was a bad yo-yo? You know, that reflects poorly upon me, and maybe you wouldn't come back, and that's not what I want. I want to grow my channel, and I want to grow this community, so I really have I have no incentive to lie to you. Lying to you is bad for me. So that's where I'm going to leave it off there, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe, though. Thanks so much for watching. Cheers to you. I'll see you next time.